My name is Marcus Granger. On September 19th, 2020, I died, and everything I thought I knew unraveled. I wasn't what most people would call a religious man. I was raised around Christianity, the way people are raised around football or country music. Something that was in the background, familiar, but never personal. We went to church on Easter and Christmas, said grace at Thanksgiving, and hung crosses in the house more out of tradition than conviction. I knew the Lord's Prayer. I knew Jesus died on the cross. I knew the basics. But beyond that, I was practical, a good guy. I didn't steal, cheat on my wife, or get drunk every weekend. I worked hard, paid taxes, raised my 2 boys with strong values, and figured if there was a God, he'd see that and give me a passing grade. My job kept me grounded. I worked construction for over 20 years and eventually became a foreman for a commercial building company in Charlottesville, Virginia. Every day was about schedules, safety checks, team coordination. I loved the smell of rebar and the sound of tools echoing off steel beams. My co-workers were like family, rough, honest, loyal. A few of them were Muslim, immigrants mostly, some from Sudan, others from Pakistan. I admired them in a way. They prayed on time. They fasted without complaining. They treated religion seriously. Unlike me, who just coasted on what I was taught as a kid. If you'd asked me what happens when we die, I would have shrugged. Heaven or whatever, I'd have said, as long as you're a decent person, you'll be fine. That's what I believed. That's what most people believe. I was wrong. It happened on a Tuesday. We were hoisting steel beams up to the 4th floor of a new office tower. I'd done it 1,000 times. Same crane, same crew. But that morning, the hydraulic cable snapped. One of the beams, easily 300 pounds, swung wide and slammed directly into my left shoulder and skull. I went down instantly. They told me later I was unconscious before I even hit the ground. My head cracked open. My collarbone shattered. Blood pooled across the gravel. The paramedics worked frantically. They did everything they could, but I was gone, dead for 7 full minutes. And yet, I was more alive in those minutes than in my entire life. The first thing I remember was floating. Not flying, floating. Detached. I could see them. My co-workers huddled around me, panicking, yelling. I saw a paramedic kneel beside me, tears in her eyes. I saw the dirt on my own boots. Even a scuffed "Faith Over Fear" sticker on Luis's hard hat stood out to me, like it was glowing. Everything felt hyper-real, like realer than real. And then something pulled me, not upward, not downward, sideways, like a curtain being drawn open, and I was being sucked through the space behind it. The air changed, colors faded. The atmosphere got thin, like spiritual altitude sickness. And then I saw it, a presence. I can't explain what it looked like, because it didn't look like anything. It wasn't male or female. It was energy, radiating light and weight and emotion all at once. It wasn't human. It wasn't angelic in the way you'd imagine, but it was truth, pure truth. It didn't need to speak out loud. I knew what it meant. It said, You must see what so few return from. I didn't argue. I didn't ask where we were going. I just followed, and then the light vanished. I was standing on the edge of a realm that words will never fully capture. Not fire and brimstone, at least not at first. No cartoonish devils. No red horns. It was worse, far worse. It was emptiness, decay. It was torment without chaos. Agony so thick it seemed woven into the air. Souls crawled through endless pits, not screaming out in pain, but in confusion. They didn't know why they were there. They were praying, reciting, chanting, but nothing was working. They were locked in spiritual loops, hoping someone would come, hoping something would change, but nothing ever did. The air smelled wrong, not like sulfur, like lost hope. That's the best way I can put it. It was like the atmosphere itself was built from despair. And then I saw them, stretching across a vast canyon. Deeper than anything I've ever imagined were millions of souls. They weren't generic. They weren't faceless. They were people, real people. They were Muslim, men and women, old and young, some wearing head coverings, others in robes, some crying, some whispering prayers in Arabic, some bowing toward Mecca, some clinging to Qurans that burned to ash in their hands every time they tried to hold them. I froze, staring, my body trembling. I recognized a face. It was Mr. Rahman, my old neighbor. He used to bring over homemade biryani when my wife was recovering from gallbladder surgery. A kind, generous man. I remembered him bowing on his rug in the backyard, always peaceful, always smiling. And there he was in torment. I saw Aisha, a girl from high school, bright, sweet, always talking about how her family moved here to escape religious violence. She used to wear her hijab with such grace. Now her eyes were wide with terror as she clutched prayer beads that turned to dust. I fell to my knees and screamed, "Why?" They were good. They were sincere. Why are they here? The being beside me, my guide, didn't flinch. It looked down at the canyon of souls and said, they were sincere, but they were deceived. The word struck like lightning. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. And then came the mockery. Demons, twisted figures made of shadow and laughter, began mimicking the prayers. They bowed. They whispered Arabic. They sang broken pieces of the Quran, turning holy phrases into blasphemous riddles. Every time the souls tried to recite the Shahada, the very words caught fire in their mouths. And that's when I realized the trap wasn't in their behavior. It was in their belief. The angel, guide, messenger, whatever it was, took me deeper. The terrain changed. Stone walls rose. Giant shrines loomed overhead, made of black stone, cracked and flickering with unholy fire. I saw replicas of the Kaaba, thrones of imitation power, built into the architecture of hell itself. And at the center, I saw a figure, not Allah, something disguised as divine, a being cloaked in illusion. Its presence commanded fear, not reverence. It didn't love, it enslaved. Its worshippers weren't drawn, they were bound. And then I saw him, Muhammad. He wasn't screaming, he wasn't burning. but he was bound, shackled, his head hung low, and around him his followers fell one by one, like dominoes collapsing into the pit he unknowingly dug. The guide said, "He grieves, not because he was innocent, but because he sees the cost of his deception. He was used. He resisted the Son. He denied the cross. And now they follow him still." My chest ached. My mind felt like it was tearing. How could this be? And then I saw what I now call mechanics, the spiritual infrastructure behind Islam. It wasn't made to bring people to God. It was built to blind them from the only one who could. It shares light but not salvation, the guide said. Half-truths, mirrored phrases, familiar terms, but at the center, no cross, no grace, no Savior, only works, only fear, only law. Then everything changed. It wasn't gradual. It wasn't gentle. It was sudden, like the roar of an ocean crashing into a dead forest. Darkness scattered like roaches under a floodlight. The shadows fled. The shrines cracked. The wailing of demons turned to shrieks of agony, not because they were hurt, but because he had arrived. Jesus. I didn't see a robe and sandals. I didn't see the long hair and soft smile from Sunday school paintings. I saw the King, the glorified Son of God, clothed in authority, radiating light so pure it didn't just shine, it revealed. Every lie I'd ever believed fell away like ash in a storm. I couldn't stand. I collapsed. His face held more than beauty, it held truth. His eyes weren't just looking at me. They knew me, all of me, the things I hid from my wife, the thoughts I pushed down, the years I spent thinking I was good enough. He saw them all, and he loved me anyway. He didn't say much. He didn't need to. His presence said everything. But then he did speak, and what he said crushed and healed me all at once. I died for them too, but they chose law over grace, prophet over savior. I never knew them, and I wept because I had believed what the world believes. That sincerity is enough. That goodness saves. That all religions are rivers flowing to the same ocean. But in the light of Christ, I saw the truth. There aren't many rivers. There's one, and every other stream leads away from the source. Then he showed me the cross, not as a relic, not as a symbol, but as the pivotal act of all existence. I saw the nails, the blood, the crown of thorns. I saw angels in silence, demons in rage. I saw every sin of mankind, my sins laid upon him like a weight that cracked the sky, and I saw him willingly take it all. Then I saw the resurrection. I watched stone break, light erupt, and death crumble under his feet. I saw the devil's plans unravel, the veil of separation torn, and in that moment I finally understood. Salvation isn't earned. It's given, and only Jesus gives it, not through religion, not through law, not through ritual, but through relationship, through grace, through blood. Then he turned to me, and in a voice so loving and so clear, he said, "Marcus, I brought you here to tell the truth. You can stay, or you can return. But if you go back, it will cost you everything." And I saw it, my friends shaking their heads, my co-workers whispering, church people doubting, Muslims threatening, a world not ready for what I'd seen. I saw people mocking me, shouting me down online, calling me intolerant, calling me hateful. But then I saw souls, people watching quietly, seeking, crying, praying in secret. Souls who didn't want religion, they wanted truth. I saw them, and I said yes. The next thing I knew, I was gasping for air in the ICU. I was drenched in sweat, shaking, screaming for Jesus. Nurses ran in. My wife ran in. I had been in a coma for 2 days. The doctors had no explanation. "It's a miracle," one of them whispered. I looked at him with tears in my eyes and said, "You have no idea how true that is." But that miracle came with a cost. The first time I told someone what I saw, they laughed. Probably brain trauma. They said, oxygen deprivation. Even my own pastor was cautious. He listened, but his eyes said it all. He didn't believe me, or maybe he just didn't want to, but I couldn't stay silent. I began sharing, first at church, then on social media, then on podcasts. I told people about the Canyon of Souls, about the Muslims still praying in torment, about the counterfeit throne, about Muhammad grieving in chains, about Jesus radiating truth, about how hell is full of sincere, disciplined, good people who miss the only name that saves. The response? It was fire. Muslims call me a liar, blasphemer, Islamophobe. Atheists call me brainwashed, delusional. Even some Christians begged me to tone it down. It's too harsh, they said, too controversial. But then the messages started, from ex-Muslims, from seekers, from men and women in Morocco, Iran, Pakistan, Sudan. They wrote things like, "Your story described the dreams I've been having. I never believed in Jesus until now. I used to bow to Mecca. Now I bow to Christ." That's when I knew this story wasn't about me. We started a ministry, Project Truthlight, small at first, a website, a few videos. Then came Bible downloads, anonymous message boards, encrypted emails. My wife, who was skeptical at first, joined me. Our kids, raised around comfortable, cultural Christianity, got saved. We've seen hardened hearts melt. We've seen Muslims find grace. We've seen Jesus move. I don't speak with pride. I speak with urgency, because I saw the faces. I saw the souls. I watched them suffer forever, and I'll never unsee it. If you've made it to the end of this testimony, hear me. Being good doesn't save you. Being sincere doesn't save you. Being religious doesn't save you. Only Jesus saves you. Not because you earned it, not because you're perfect, but because he already paid the price, and he's waiting for your yes. If this testimony stirred something inside you, don't ignore it. Share this video. Leave a comment. Someone else might be on the edge, and your voice could be what leads them home. Hell is real. Jesus is greater, and the time is short.